Hello, it's Teresa again with Lake Grove Art Literacy. I am here to talk about the February and March art lesson, which is really fun, a three-dimensional found object sculpture. So here's a few examples. We have this. You can see that's actually made out of pipe cleaners, a bit of pom-poms and egg carton and a pool noodle, feathers. We have this kind of like sun sculpture thing. It's an idea. This one's one my daughter made, just out of a paper tube. So that's what we're gonna do. There's a lot of supplies. It's very unconventional. So let's get to it. Basically, what you're going to need are, I'll set up here, but I'm gonna walk you through the supplies. There's gonna be a lot of supplies on the bin this time. The number one thing is a whole lot of kind of found object. Most of this is probably recycled materials. So we'll be gathering this up. If you have some, please bring it in. If your kid has a specific thing they want to use, like they're like really attached to, say, this popper thing from Christmas or whatever, or a bottle that they're inspired by, they can bring that and keep it. Your teachers can be collecting stuff up if you want to send something to the room parents. We're also collecting a lot of stuff from the community in the vestibule of the school. So go ahead and bring them that in. We will make sure there's always a lot of these because these are very easy to use for the littles. The next thing is there's going to be a bin full of hot glue guns. These are low heat, but the tip does get hot, so they have an on-off switch. I'll talk about that. These can be with supervision for the littles, but the older kids use them in STEM, so should be probably fine. Glue sticks, a whole lot of them in there, the mini size. If you have any to donate, we'd love those as well. Wire cutters. These are probably not for use for the little kids, but they are really easy to use, so we'll show you that. This next bin will be full of stuff you can use for adhesive. So if they don't want to use the hot glue, they can use these sticky glue dots. And then a whole lot of decorating stuff. So wires, which can help make sculpture, decorating beads and all that stuff. The biggest parts are going to be you pick a substance like a base, something like this, or a base from one of these other bins. These are all smaller. We're trying to separate these things out into a little bit smaller items. Found things, broken toys, forks, sponges, anything at all you can think of. There's even some like weird little broken things from, I've gone to Al's recently, Big Al's, and we've gotten a bunch of weird little toys. Bring them in, it's totally fine. The next one we're trying to keep more about like pipe cleaners and sticks, and some wires are pre-cut in here. And then there's a bin here full of fabric-y type things. So fabric samples, if you have them, things like coffee filters, feathers. I think there's also going to be a bin full of paper, because if they just want to cut paper out, that's fine too. Yeah, so that's what we've got, just a whole lot of found supplies. It doesn't have to be brand new, definitely even cooler if it's not. We'll use stuff from our art lit closet that we're not using anymore. So that's what the kids will all pick that will be on the bin, on the cart. What we're gonna try to do then is have them set up to make a bunch of stuff. The video is very, very fast. It just shows one example. What's challenging about this is that each kid's gonna have a different vision. So if they get stuck, my tip is have them start with an animal. Do they wanna make an animal? Or something in nature, like a sun. If they want to just do abstract, totally fine too. This is kind of a person, but kind of not. It can be whatever. There is no wrong or right answer. If they get stuck, my suggestion is have them start with some kind of animal. So I'm going to do two. I'm going to do two different things while we work. One is going to be probably something like a flower out of this maybe, and this one's just going to be like a sculpture of a person maybe, to show how it can be really easy. So let's start with this guy. Basically, I have this, cool, love it. Now I want to figure out how to make it into more of an interesting thing. So maybe I take this wire, for instance, or maybe I don't want white wire. Maybe I want something like this blue wire. So I'm going to unwrap it. It's really, really bendy, which is awesome. You can kind of see we've done that on things like this. You can turn the edges curved. We're not going to be able to write people's names on these, so we are going to give you a sticker and they can stick it to the back, so don't worry about that just now. Here is a length. You just take this and you can kind of snip it and snip it. So I'm gonna do this for some hands. Oops. Keep these in rolls, they get stuck. I'm gonna make a hand out of this. So you can just take this and stick it right through, like that. And then maybe I'm going to bend it into like something like that. Who knows? It can be anything. If they have trouble with this part, you can help them with it. You can also suggest ideas for them. The hard part, I think, is going to be just making sure things stay secure. So that's why we have the hot glue in the end, because a lot of these materials just don't stick to themselves. Okay, there we go. The thing to watch out with the little kids, it would be, or all kids really, is the ends that are kind of pokey. So I've got that. Now maybe what I want to do is figure out something for some eyes. So I'm going to go into this bin. Just grab, maybe I want some eyeballs. Here's some eyeballs. Cool. So for this, I think just use dots, stick when you want, when you can. These should probably work for this. It's a glue dot, and they just stick it. You can distribute these across all the tables. There will be a lot of rolls of them, and we'll try to replenish the carts a lot. If you do run into a situation where you're running out of something, just let us know. We'll try to bring it back. Here's something though. So I have this little thing. I think it's a piece of a puzzle. Who knows? But I'm going to make this a nose. Okay. How am I going to attach it? Well, there's a couple ways. You can have, kind of make a stab with the scissors and stick it in there. If that's not going to stay, it might be a situation where you want the glue. So the way it works is, everybody knows glue sticks probably and glue guns, but these have little on-off switches. So when the light is on, it's on. It has this little deal so that it will not drip onto the ground or onto the table. Sorry, it won't tip over. But they do get hot on the tip and they do leave messes. So that's why we'll have these silicone mats if you want to leave them out. It's not too hard to clean it up though. So whatever works. If you want to make a station for these or if you want to roam around, maybe we'll also include a few, what are they called? Extension cords so that you can kind of get these throughout the room, but we don't want these to be trip hazards. So you can see it takes a minute for them to heat up. It's probably a good idea while the presentation is running to just go ahead and get them plugged in, a few of them. And if you're having some troubleshooting things, it will run out of glue, and so you need to put another one in to make sure that it keeps coming down. So just have a lot of these. Cool. While that's heating up, I'll start on this other one. For this one, I'm going to do some kind of a flower, I think. So what I'm going to do is grab like maybe this, for instance, as a place to start. Just cut it out. It's really arbitrary to do this demo because the kids are going to have all different ideas, but just to give some inspiration. The idea is just to make a three-dimensional sculpture. So if they don't want to do something flat, that's totally fine too. But the idea is to kind of be inspired by the Lake Oswego sculpture. What are they called? The sculptures, the galleries without walls that are all over the place. I'm just going to cut these into separate petals, actually. So whatever works. One of the things that makes a sculpture look really cool is to build lots of layers. So that's what I'm going to do for this one. I'm going to go ahead and just put a dot and put this here. It might be that the kids feel like, oh, I did it, I'm done, I don't need to do anything else. Just see, like more is more, I think, with this one. See, I had to push that down. So then go back to your bin, maybe pull in some other stuff. What do we have here? We have more fabric, but we also have, here's a little plastic flower thing that can go on there. Some things in the center, some ribbon. Maybe there's something, there's some beads. Gather up different ideas. Ooh, I made a bit of a mess. Whoops. Put these in here. You're encouraged to think about shape and color and line. So if we do something like this. See, now this won't, those things might have stuck with the glue dots, but this probably won't. So that's where this helps. Just remember, it's going to be hot. So if you want to get something on there to not hurt you, that's a good idea. If it seems loose at all, just go ahead and glue it down. Maybe a good idea at the end of the class to kind of run around and secure things with the hot glue for people. A lot of this is probably experiment, so you're gonna just have to listen to me think about what I'm gonna do. Cool. They can also just cut these apart. I'm just kind of trying to conserve time and energy, but probably a way making it harder on myself. Ouch, it hurts. A lot of the kids, my understanding is that they do a lot of this kind of stuff in STEM, so they probably will be pretty familiar with it and it'll be fine. Cool. Okay, and then I'm just gonna add some more. So like here's a little center for this one. This is my flower so far. Maybe I want to add some stamen or something to that, whatever those are called. Pinch it. So like this. Encourage making things three-dimensional. So see, we've got some like height on that now. And you can always use more glue. Something like that. And then just finish it off. Give it some leaves. If you want to secure these ones on, you can, but this one's probably fine to just twist. Cool. Something like that. Totally fine. And then this sticker, put it on the back, wherever they think makes sense. If they wanted more stuff, more, you know, keep going. You can keep going by just adding even more stuff. Yeah, you get the idea. But you could add more bigger flowers, bigger ideas here on the back. Doing things like that. Hot, hot, hot. Do be careful. Yeah, and then wherever this sticks, we'll see. It doesn't, if they want to write it with a marker too, they could write it with a marker, but these do not seem to stick very well. I'll have to buy new ones. Yep, there's my flower. So to go back to the other one, this guy is kind of loose, so maybe we stick some glue in here. Cool, that looks good. Just keep going. You just keep doing more and more. Just wrapping some stuff around it. Who knows? Whatever's cool. If they get stuck and they don't know what to do, like I said, just have them pick either like a thing they're trying to imitate or a feeling, maybe an emotion. We've had past classes that have gone really well when the kids get to think about different emotions. You can try different things. Just have them hold stuff up and see how it works. I didn't use this for that, but maybe I'll give this guy a hat or something. You can also really build stuff. So I'm just decorating stuff because that's what's easy to do on demo. But honestly, they can build a bunch of things. You can take all these things and like maybe I can do this with this. Let's test these out a little bit more since the glue is kind of hot. Do these, stick it to that. Now you've got this interesting thing. You know, maybe I want him to have a bigger hat. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah. Oops. So now he can carry stuff on his head. You can make up a story. That's what happened when my daughter made that one. Ooh, do watch out. Looks like the hot glue melts the... That's why we do demos. Hot glue is melting the pool noodle a little bit. Yeah, when she made up this thing, she's like had a whole story about it. So have them make up a story if they're stuck. Like, what's your guy doing? Where does he live? What is your sculpture? Where is it in town? You can ask them. We aren't going to get to do, I haven't planned yet a tour, but we could do a tour of the LO sculptures. We won't have a chance to go do it probably before your class necessarily goes, if we do it. But they've seen them around. That sculpture that's in front of the school on Boone's Ferry with the apple, that's one of those sculptures. So you can ask them, where would your sculpture be in the city? Like, where would it be? What would it be representing? Who's going to see it? And that could be an interesting conversation or inspiration. Another sticker on here. See if I'm struggling with it. They're gonna need some help for sure. Yeah. So there's my sculpture. Maybe this guy wants to have. Maybe he has a flower on his hat. And maybe he carries stuff in his little hat like that. Don't leave anything loose though. So if this is an idea, they're like, oh, he carries fruit in his hat basket. Glue it down because you can explain that in the elements, if it were out in the world as a sculpture, it's not necessarily going to be delicate. People interact with it. It's kind of the deal with sculptures. So they really should secure as much as possible. Cool. Okay, the next part is a little complicated. So the art, they want us to take photos of each of these in order to not have to, because what are you going to do with all the finished art pieces? We'll have bins to collect them up. Hopefully they'll have names on them, like we said. But in the end, we need to take photos of each one. I don't think it's going to be easy for volunteers to take the photos live and then get them to us. So let's just collect up all the art pieces like we do with every other art lit project, and the coordinators and volunteers from the PTA will go ahead and photograph them for the kids' portfolios. The deal is we collect up all the art right back into the supply closet, and then we give it to the kids all at once into portfolio at the end of the year. Well, it's going to be hard to deliver a three-dimensional object. So what we might do is just collect them up and give them back to the kids after we photograph them. But I don't want to put that on the volunteers to have to do, because I want the volunteers in the classrooms to be able to concentrate on helping the kids with using all the cool supplies and opening up their imagination, not like doing a photo shoot. So Tessa and I will figure that out and let you all know how it should work. But for now, just plan to collect up all of the art pieces. Maybe I'll even ask, actually thinking on the fly, maybe I'll ask each of the teachers to keep them in their classroom, and we will come classroom by classroom and collect them up and do a photo shoot separate. And that way we don't have to overflow the supply closet with everything. So, yep. Just put them all back in a bin, make sure names are on them, but let's keep them in the classrooms. And yeah, that will work. That's the lesson. That's the whole thing. Just make sure we're trying to label things if possible. Stuff a little thing in a spot if you need to so that kids get them back, but I'm sure they'll recognize them if we keep them class by class. That's it. Last plug, please bring us your supplies. We will take fabric stuff, paper stuff, used things, new things. You can see paint things in here. You can see sponges, broken toys, boxes. They should have time if they want to, like, they're not doing painting or any of that, but they can take fabric and they can take pipe cleaners and cover up some of the labels if they're concerned about that. All kinds of things, right? Anything in your junk drawer, rubber bands, whatever you've got. Just make sure it's clean. We do not want, this is super duper clean, but I recommend not food containers. Mostly, definitely not takeout containers. Mostly things that are easy for them to use that will not attract ants, which has happened at other schools. All right. Thank you so much. Have fun.